Adam.
Hello, Geek Vibes Nation. This is Tristian Evans, and today I have the honor and the pleasure of speaking with Mr. Bomani J. Story. He is the writer and director of the upcoming horror film, The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster. Mr. Story, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Doing very good, man. How are you? How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So I was telling somebody, I was like, so last week I went to a screening of the early screening of The Blackening on Monday. Then I
Mhm.
watched a screener of your film on Friday. So I was like, as a horror fan, as a black horror fan, I was being fed last week. I was like, it was such a good week for me. Yes, so I absolutely loved your movie. So like I said,
Thank you.
the Blackening on Monday and then the Angry Black Girl and Her Monster on Friday. So great week for me.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
absolutely loved the film, the story, the amazing cast. I mean, Chad Coleman, Amani Summer, Denzel Whitaker, Alea Hayes, who played Vicaria, the lead.
yeah.
Like everybody was just amazing, amazing. But my first question for we'll get into that. But my first question for you is: you start by telling us about your journey to becoming a filmmaker from when you watched that first movie or read that first screenplay to now?
Yeah, I mean, my journey to become a filmmaker wasn't really, there was never really an aha moment. It was more of just like a, not to abuse the word, but it was actually a journey because I came to it pretty late. When I was in high school, I was kind of, well, not kind of, I was in I kept being placed in these multimedia classes and became a part of this crew called the Digital Dogs. And we were making just like kind of sports videos and like news stuff, right, for the school, like on a high school setting. And then towards the end, I was like, my mom was kind of just like, "Well, do you think this is something you might want to go into?" And I was just like, "Yeah, go away, mom." Like so. I went to like community college, and that was where the first start of just being like, oh, storytelling. Because before I was just doing like news stuff, right, or just like highlight reels and stuff. But then it started kind of branching out into like storytelling, where I was watching movies, and I was just like, oh, this is kind of interesting. And then I started looking at like film schools. And so then from there, after I spent my 2 years there, I transferred into USC. And obviously, then I was just completely inundated into film. It was like first, it was like sports and news stuff, like 80, and then like 20% film. You know what I mean? Then when I went to, well, like, 100% sports and whatever. And then like when I went to community college, it was like 80-20, right? And then 80-20 of like 80 journalists, stuff in the 20% narrative film or like storytelling. Then when I got to USC, it was like 80 or 90% storytelling, film stuff, and like 10% uh like sports stuff, because I was like, oh, I got a job there shooting like sports stuff because I had the skill set. But all my, and then that was when my ambitions really kind of started locking in. After that, I graduated and was just like writing until I did my first feature film, Rocksteady Row. And my good friend Trevor Stevens directed it. And it went on to win the grand jury and the audience award there in 2018. And then I moved on and wrote this script. And I guess here we are.
Right, right. That is awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, after I watched The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster, I went and watched Rocksteady Road, and
Oh,
I, it's so different. I was wondering which one came first. So your current film came after that. It's such a departure. So I was just curious, like, what was going on that made you kind of jump from that story to the Angry Black Girl and Her Monster?
well, like, that's a good question. I'm glad you watched them both, man. Shout out to you, man.
Well, because I enjoyed the movie, so I was like, but so when I find a filmmaker who I enjoy, I go looking for everything else they've done. So yeah,
No, like, to me, like, Rocksteady Row, it's like I have that mode in me where I'm thinking about kind of just these action elements, more like, I mean, it's just like I have that itch, that side of me, it's like I don't really have, I don't know, I don't know if I have a strong itch to like direct like action comedy, it's like I don't have like, it's like, but trying to write it, to me is like, it is fun, so I have some more of those in my back pocket. But Angry Black on a Monster, I've always been a massive horror fan. Since my sisters were showing me horror movies when I was a kid and terrifying me, right? Like, so, and other influences that I wanted to cater to me, for myself, for this movie. So I don't know. I think like just having different facets. You know, it's just like
Mhm.
different itches that I want to itch as a filmmaker. You know.
Awesome, awesome. So, what I really loved about this story is that, the setting and Vicaria's upbringing and sort of her environment, so much of that lent itself to, like it blended well with the Frankenstein story, with
Mhm.
elements of the original Frankenstein story. So I guess I kind of want to get into like what was the origins of like that idea, like, hey, Frankenstein in the setting where this girl has, well, I mean, because because of what she, without going into spoilers, what she has gone through, it lends itself to her thinking, death is the enemy and it's something that needs to be overcome. So I'm really just curious what kind of led to that Frankenstein in a modern setting with a female mad scientist.
Yeah, no, I mean, it started with the literature. Like I read the book and I just knew I wanted to do something with it because I just felt like all the iterations of the book would be leaving certain things on the floor that I thought were really awesome, you know, and a lot of the themes of the book I connected to. And I thought, you know, that there were certain themes that were just super resonant for today. So when I started, you know, but I didn't know what the story was yet. I just knew I wanted to do it some way. You know, so like fast forward kind of, you know, 7, 10 years later or whatever, you know, the idea kind of like clicks to me. But on top of that, you know, I never put the two together. But growing up, I, you know, I had two older sisters who were mentored me and shepherded me and were like my first contact with real intelligence. So you know, it didn't occur to me to put those two together until like 7 or 10 years later, right? So and that's when the sparks started to fly.
Awesome, awesome. So this cast, like I was saying earlier, the entire cast is amazing. Can you talk a little bit about the casting process? Because I want like the standout for me, of course, the lead who played Vicaria, but like little Amani Summer. Like I feel like horror films, like anytime you have a creepy kid, it just cranks it up to level 10. So she just killed it. So I'm like, what was the casting process like in finding the perfect actors for these characters?
Oh, I mean, it was great. My casting directors were fantastic and kind of just found these actors that came in and auditioned. You know, John and Alyssa, they were fantastic, or Allison, I should say. And Leia came in and smacked it out of the park. And you know, so did everyone else except for Chad. You know, Chad doesn't need to audition, right? Like
Right,
he's
right.
just, you know, he is who he is. You know, but and you know, it's like including like Riley and Keith and, you know, and, Amani was a monster. Like she, you know, she was incredible. And one of the things I always like to say is that she's just so. One of the things about her as a child, she just has such incredible instincts as an actress. And you know, the whole I won't give too much away, but you know, her scene, you know, it's like her, you know, scene like she invented that you know with the alphabet
Oh, wow.
she like brought that to it, you know. And so when she did that just in the audition, I was just like, well, you know, one like someone that young, she's like 7 at the time, you know, I think she's like 8 now, but for someone to just bring that to it, just you know, as a child, you know, and her first movie, I know that her instincts are just like appropriate. You know, she has imagination and all those things. And you know, it's just like it's such a great idea. And you know, on top of that, it's like I'm not gonna steal that idea and give it to another like actress. That's crazy.
Right, right.
You know, it's like so. So yeah, she just got it out the park. You know, and yeah, everyone that auditions was just a cut above everyone, you know, even Ellis, the guy who plays, Jerome, you know, the little boy in the beginning, like, you know, he was incredible, and Dale, like, I couldn't have been more fortunate to have such a powerhouse of a cast.
Yeah, they were all amazing, all amazing. I want to say something about the little boy at the beginning, but that scene just got
Yeah,
me like between he and Vicario when he's like the fear in
yeah,
his eyes, like he killed it. Like that moment they have was
yeah,
like you understand the like you do not question her actions after that. That was kind of like the final sort of nail in the coffin. Like, okay, death is the enemy. I have to find a way to defeat that. So, kind of continuing with that theme, there's so many Frankenstein remixes and reimaginings. What would you say is sort of the core message you want people to walk away from with this reimagining?
Oh, well, I mean, you know, it's tough because, for me, it's like I don't wanna give too much away, and
Mhm.
I like people to enjoy their own journey and come to their own, you know, thematics. Of course, I have my thoughts and hopes, you know, for a movie, but I really hope people have their own interpretations. I leave that up for them to kind of interpret on their own, and I just hope that people come away with like they what they think they're going to go into the movie and leave with something more, right? You know what I mean? It's like I think that's for me all my favorite films. Like that's the experience I get, and that it makes me love them. I go in expecting one thing, and I come out with so much more. So I'm hoping they're able to have a great ride and a great experience with the movie. And come with some thoughts.
Yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So, do you have any advice for other creatives, especially Black creatives who want to write screenplays and direct and just make films or act? Like any advice for them?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's a matter of keep going, persistence, and like it's hard for us out there. It's like because literally, I don't know, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, it was like it was, it was even tougher. It's
Yeah.
still hard now, but I think persistence is always going to be your best weapon, and constantly creating no matter what, whether it's through failure or success, because I got a couple L's. I got a couple L's under my belt, you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
take those L's and you use them like a dumbbell, you curl them, it's like and
Right,
build your strength,
absolutely.
right? Do some squats with it, and then you move forward, right? So
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for that message.
yeah, no problem.
So my final question, can you tell us anything about what you're working on next?
Oh yeah, man. I got a nice little script. You know what I'm saying? A nice little script. Best way I could describe it is Juice meets Lord of the Rings, baby.
Juice meets Lord of the Rings. Wait. So like elves, like in a like urban city environment, or
Yeah, so
magic, or
just imagine like, two blurs from the suburbs find Gandalf's staff in a book of spells.
oh, wait. So then does like because I'm thinking of like juice. So does the magic then become like a metaphor for like guns or things like that, like just violence? Or because I
Mhm.
mean, I'm just imagining two blurs getting their hands on magic. Like, yeah, a lot could go, a lot of fun could be had. I'm thinking of Chronicle. Did you have you ever seen the movie Chronicle?
Yeah, of
Like those
course.
kids get powers. I'm like, it could go well, but it also could go really wrong. But it sounds
Yeah.
amazing. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm trying to give it away, trying to figure out. You said Juice me Lord of the Rings. I'm like, if they find spells and a wand, like, oh, okay. I can see. I just sorry. So this is your script, not mine. But
Nah. I'm glad it's igniting the imagination. Right.
yes. So yeah,
Yeah.
we are very excited about that over here at Geek Vibes Nation. Mr. Story, thank you so much for taking time to speak with us. Geek Vibes Nation, you know what to do. The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster will be in theaters on June 9th. Please make sure you go out and support so that we can get our Juice meets Lord of the Rings. I'm trying to see that, y'all. So yeah, go out and support. But Mr.
Yeah.
Story, thank you so much again for taking time to speak with us.
Thank you.